smarami hridi samsphuradatmatattvam Satchit sukham paramaham sagatim turiyam Yat swapna jagara sushuptamaveti nityam Tad brahma nishkalamaham nacha bhuta sangha Pratasmarami hridi samsphuradatmatattvam Satchit sukham paramaham sagatim turiyam Yat swapna jagara sushuptamaveti nityam Tad brahma nishkalamaham nacha bhuta sangha. Or an outstanding invocation, outstanding verse. In the early morning, pratah smarami hridi samsphuradatmatattvam. I contemplate upon Atman, the essential self shining in the heart, which is existence, knowledge, bliss, sat, chit, sukham, paramaham sagatim. It is the supreme goal. Yet swapna jagara, which constantly illumines the waking dream and deep sleep. Turiyam, it is the fourth plane of consciousness, which constantly illumines the waking dream and deep sleep states. And then he says, Tad Brahma, I am that indivisible Brahman, Nishkalamaham. I am that pure, indivisible Brahman. Nachabhuta Sangha. I am not this assemblage of elements. Outstanding. If there is some message there which is so potent as this, I tell you, there's nothing that can surpass this. This is the most potent, powerful advice you can give yourself to begin your study, to begin your spiritual journey every morning. Yes, sir. Could we have the screen back? Every morning, in fact, this is the ritual. Please go through the ritual. I would strongly recommend you all. The moment you get up first thing in the morning, ideally 4 o'clock in the morning. If it's too early, whenever you get up, 4:35, devote yourself the first 2 hours, known as the auspicious hour, the sattvic hour, the Brahma Muhurtam, the only hour when you can unfold yourself, you can discover yourself, you can realize yourself, you can progress spiritually. Spiritual progression only happens between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. Between 6 a.m. and the rest of the day, you're only consolidating that understanding. There is no further growth. Remember this. The growth only happens between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. Now, you want to spiritually grow. Don't challenge this thought or opinion. Just blindly, mechanically follow. You will go great distance. We are told to question. You can question. There's enough wisdom out there to help you realize and convince you. But if you are not in a position to get an answer, just follow that advice. 4 to 6 a.m. Don't do anything else but try to absorb this knowledge and wisdom. That is the highest spiritual study of trying to digest the Shastras. So you embark your study every morning. Before you begin, chant the invocation in the first 2 verses. And then you do your hour and a half or whatever you study. Spend the time, and it's truly inspiring. Okay, so what does the invocation say? In the early morning, Pratah, early morning is 4 a.m. What do? I contemplate upon the Atman. Atman is the self, which is in the heart. Where is the Atman? Atman, when you say the heart means it is directing right inward. The self, the truth, the reality, you can call it the consciousness. Where is it? It is located right within. Even though we say Atman or God is all pervasive, yet the discovery of that all pervasive truth happens only within. You never discover the truth out there. The discovery of the self always happens within. The discovery happens within, the experience is seen outside. It's always an inward realization and the expression is outward. But don't try to realize God in the outward expressions, please. The mistake many people do is they try to realize God in the outward expressions. No, you can only see the God in the outward expressions only when you unfolded it within. So it is a realization is within, the experience is outside. Where you see the self in all beings. Did we not learn that recently? Where did we learn that? Which class was it? Was it the Gita? You see the self in all beings. You see yourself everywhere. Where was it? Any one of you remember? Don't say, sir, you only taught us no memories of past. All past is wiped off. No memories. We only live in the present. It is the 5th chapter. Just last week we did, just recently. You see the self in all beings. Try to recall it. In fact, it is said all throughout the scriptures. So if you are able to see the oneness everywhere, it is because of the realization is within. Now, when you talk of a heart, now when you say heart, it means it is the, okay, when you use the word heart, what do you understand by the word heart? When you use the word English language heart, Hridi means the heart. What does the heart mean? Ramana Garu, when I say heart, sir, don't tell me my heartbeat. What do you understand by heart?
Your Hrudayam. Inner space. It's not a heart. Hrudayam means different from heart, I think, sir.
It is. Hrudayam is the heart. But when in English language you use the word heart, what does it mean? Like he's using Hrudayam, shining in the heart. So the self is shining in the heart. What is he trying to convey? No issue, no worries, sir. I can give it a thought, no problem. What does the word heart convey? Emotion? No. Harish is saying emotion. No, it's not emotion. What does the heart mean? Can I ask Raghuramji? I don't see you though, but if you're there.
Can I speak, Guruji?
I'm sorry, who is that?
That's Badrinath.
Yes, please. Solunga, sir.
So heart refers to the core of one's being, probably the focal point of one's self-consciousness.
The core, the pivot, the
focal point of one's self.
Where the consciousness resides, the very focal point, the very pivot, the very center, the very core. So the heart, very right, sir. The heart symbolizes something which is the very core of the very essence of something. Like when you are in a problem and you're trying to go about and about, around and around, somebody will say, hey, come on, let's get to the heart of the problem. What is the problem? Let's get to the core. Don't talk about and about, isn't it? So we use the word heart to draw you to the very epicenter, the very core. Or this was the heart where it was the epicenter of the whole explosion. So it happened, it started there, triggered there. So you use that language to draw you to the very essence, the very core, the very essential aspect. So the self is the very essence of your personality. It is the very essence of my personality. So in the early morning, I contemplate upon that essential aspect of my personality, not the non-essentials. I'm not interested in that. The essential is the Atman, the self. I contemplate on that. And where is the self? In the cave, he says. Hrudi is the complete translation is in the cave, shining in the heart cave. Now, when you say a cave, something which is deep, the cave is in the deep, in the recesses of the mountain. So when you say a cave which is in the deep, the heart, the innermost layers of your personality, the perception could be that it might be dark and gloomy and suffocating. No, my dear. It is resplendent. It is brilliant. It is shining. It is glowing. It is glorious. That is the nature of the self. It is deep within and it is shining. Wow, so beautiful, isn't it? So he puts it in a contradictory language just to convey what it is. So you don't misunderstand. So I contemplate upon the essential self, shining in the heart cave. And what is the nature of it? Sat, Chit, Sukham. No, in fact, this is one of the terms. You can call it Sat, Chit, Sukham or Sat, Chit, Ananda. You find it's a very familiar word you come across in many spiritual discourses. Many Swamis and Mahatmas, they become very poetic and pedantic when they come to this phrase, and they become very poetic. Sat Chit Ananda, Sat Chit Sukham. Now, what does Sat Chit Sukham means? What does it mean? Now, I'm trying to put it as simple as possible. Sat Chit Sukham refers to the pervasiveness or where all the Atman expresses. See, the word expression and experience are one and the same. Huh? You can only experience the self where it expresses, isn't it? I said earlier, the realization of the self happens within, the experience happens outside. Isn't it? I'm glad I said that phrase. Gayatri ma, correct? The realization happens within, the experience happens outside. Now, where can you experience the self? Where it expresses. Now, where does the self express? Sat, Chit, Sukham. Sat, Chit, Sukham. Sat means existence. Chit is knowledge. Ananda or Sukham means bliss. Now, you already would realize how technical it's getting. Eh? Don't be taken up. Don't be taken aback. It just so beautiful a study. Once you get it, I tell you, I'm not trying to intellectually entertain you, but if you get into that entertainment intellectually, it is very, very enthralling. We're not here for intellectual entertainment. We're trying to understand how it all fits into my own self-unfoldment. I'll go very slowly. I understand some of you will be struggling to understand. Now, as I'm just saying, the self expresses as Sat, Chit, Sukham. So they're telling an ignorant person where all you can locate the Atman. Where you can locate in Sat. The Sanskrit word Sat means existence. Now let's understand, what is it that is existing in the world? What is it that's existing? That exists around you. Just mere existence. Annapurnama, what is it that exists around you?
All species, Guruji. All species. Existing all around us, in all kinds of species created by the Almighty.
Existing. Mere existence. Okay, to make it simpler, something which exists, which has no life in it. Sorry, oru
Sorry,
chance
Guruji, I don't have any
chance
thoughts.
the second chance kodukka matena. No, I can understand, ma. Subramaniam sir, Member of Parliament, MP. Welcome, ji. MP na Member of Parliament. Correct, dane?
Hari Om, Guruji.
Hari Om, sir. Hari Om.
But wonderful to be in presence again.
Good to have you. Wonderful. Yes.
It's matter. Like you mentioned, it's matter.
What is matter?
Matter is all that is there which doesn't have that life force.
That which doesn't express life.
That's itself. Yes.
There is no expression of life, but the self is very much there. For example, the chair you're sitting on, the furniture and fittings around you, the things around you, all inert matter, including, I want to fill this. Some of you advanced spiritual seekers can answer this. Inert matter, including
Our body equipment.
another,
Our body equipment.
which is
The indriyas, the eyes, all the organs of perception, as we call it.
correct. The mere physical body, or you can call it the gross body.
The gross body.
So, in effect, I expect you to capture all this, please. Please write down. It's a great opportunity for you to capture these ideas. An opportunity for you to clarify as well. So, we will not rush through it. Patience, as Adi Shankaracharya says, again the Bhajagovindam, Kuruvavadhanam, Mahadhavadhanam. We'll go very slowly. No hurry. So, Sat means existence, which means inert matter. Write it down this way. Harishji, just capture this, please. Sat means existence, which means inert matter, which consists of all the inert objects and gross body equals gross matter. So all this is Sat. I repeat, Sat is existence, which consists of inert matter, which consists of inert objects and gross body, which is nothing but gross matter. Perfect. Capture that. So Brahman, or the self or consciousness, is everywhere you look around. The matter is mere existing. There's no life in it. And the great Prahalada had proven to his father, demon, Hiranyakashipu, that God is everywhere. And he believed, he had strong conviction. And he just went about and just demolished the pillar in his house or in the palace. And Lord Narasimha came. Now don't put any such acid tester. Don't go about breaking pillars in the house for Lord to be seen. And I'll be in trouble. You will be in trouble, then I'll be in trouble. So that doesn't have to literally be exhibited and experienced. Don't go about breaking things. It's not only symbolic to say that God is everywhere. Every particle, every part of gross matter, what is the subtlest form of gross matter? Harishji, what is the subtlest form of subtlest form of gross matter?
The atom or its constituents, the electron, the proton, the neutron.
So the electron and proton and neutron are smaller than the atom, isn't it?
Yes.
If you break the electron proton, what do you get? Positron?
Yeah, a positive electron. The
Positive.
portion.
Whatever, there are some little terms. I know, I'm just showing off my little knowledge of science. Anything beyond that, I'm ignorant. So you talk about the proton, neutron. So that, let's say, that is the smallest known particle. Science would have evolved where they have blasted that very small particle into multiple parts. So if you go to the very core of that part, that unseen, almost unknown, insignificant part of that matter, there is Atman there. That's what they're saying. You go to the most insignificant aspect which constitutes matter. Atman is very much there, man. That itself is baffling. Australia, how is it possible, man? Everything in the world, every molecule, every atom, every particle has God in it. Whew. Such a profound, if it hits you really hard. My God, God is everywhere, man. Every particle is divinized by God. It's just that I can't see it. That's about all, isn't it? It's all God's particles. Yes, everything is Brahman. Now, the second level where you can see God is in chit. Chit refers to knowledge. Knowledge refers to living beings. Living beings go through two states of consciousness. The two states of consciousness are known as waking and dream. Like when you're awake now, I know those of you whom are seeing are awake. The rest of you I don't see. You have the liberty of switching to dream also. And I respect your choice of being incognito, because you have the liberty of going into dream and coming back into waking whenever you want. So you are very well aware that there are two states of waking and dream. So where you have knowledge of the waking state, you have knowledge of the dream state. So where you are conscious of, knowledge of, and that refers to the subtle body. Harishi, please capture this. Chit refers to knowledge, refers to living beings which go through waking and dream. Where you have knowledge of the waking state, you have knowledge of the dream state. So all the experiences of the waking world, Brahman is there everywhere. When you go to sleep, Brahman is very much there. The self pervades even your dream. Ah, that's interesting. Now, till now we have said God pervades the waking world, God pervades the dream world, God pervades the gross matter, inert matter. Sudhakar Garu, are you following? Thumbs up? One thumbs up or two thumbs up? Ah, two thumbs up. Okay. Then we should meet for thumbs up then. To taste the thunder. Huh? Good. Now, the third stage where you can see that God exists or permeates is ananda or sukham. Now, in the verse, he used the word sukham. Sukham or ananda refers to living beings that go through the experience of the deep sleep. When you go into deep sleep, you experience a state of relative bliss. So, ananda is nothing but deep sleep where you experience bliss, which is referring to the causal body. Are you all following? Everything clear so far? Annapurnama clear? Expression is solludu. Clarify. Unmute Annapurnama.
Sorry Guruji, second level and third level konjam confuse aagudhu.
No, see, what you got to understand, simple thing is, they say God is pervading in things and beings. That's the broad definition. God, things and beings. So things and beings, the entire world consists of things and beings. Avaldane? The things is not matter, which you understood is Sat, existence. Okay. Now, beings go through waking, dream, deep sleep. Okay. So the beings go through waking, dream, deep sleep. So somebody has muted me also. Sorry, Harish ji, if I said something wrong, forgive me. Suddenly, our host has decided to mute me. So, maninchungo sir, tappa sonnana solungo. I will prashittam na pandren. Edad solungo, please. Peslama. Right. Now, so the living beings consists of waking, go through waking, dream, deep sleep. That's about all you got to understand is a human being or living beings go through waking, dream, deep sleep. Waking and dream are compartmentalized into subtle body. Deep sleep is called causal body. Just write these terms and you will get clarified as we go along. Have you captured this? Sorry, ma. Just don't try to grasp everything. It will be difficult. Let's go step by step. We will be able to follow. Okay. So all what they are saying is Sat Chit Ananda means the God pervades the things and beings of the world. Now there's a little clarification required. Why we call causal body or deep sleep as Ananda? Why is it another name for Ananda or the causal body or deep sleep is it's called Anandamaya Kosha. Kosha is a sheath. So deep sleep is also synonymously known as Anandamaya Kosha. Now why is it called Ananda? Simple. They don't have to worry of technical terms. When we go into sleep sometimes, don't you go through a sleep where you don't dream at all? Ramana Garu, you have sleep sometimes where you don't dream, Gada? Yes? Now, what is the experience of yours when you wake up from a sleep of no dreams? It's a very refreshing. I just slept for half an hour in the afternoon, but I wake up so refreshed, isn't it? Kada?
Yeah.
But
and very energetic and refreshing, correct?
Correct. After that, you feel very energetic and refreshed. But let's say you slept at night, but you had a sleep full of dreams. What is the experience of waking up in a sleep full of dreams?
It will be full of agitation and yeah.
It is not as refreshing as waking up from deep sleep. That's all you can say. Correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So therefore, the state where you go through deep sleep is known as bliss or ananda because there are no mental agitations. Your mind is calm. When your mind temporarily goes to rest, where there is no activity of the mind, you go through what is known as deep sleep. Because bliss is defined as no agitations. That's all. Utna hi hai. Ante. No agitations is bliss. Now in deep sleep, the desires are temporarily blanketed. Temporarily your desires are asleep. Therefore it is a temporary bliss. As Shivaji rightly says, that state of thoughtlessness, no thought. Correct, Shivaji? Then, but the state of realization or the fourth state is known as a permanent state of bliss because the desires are completely annihilated. There's no desires at all. So that state of experience of Brahman is where the desires are completely gone. So you get a glimpse of what that state of realization when you go to deep sleep. You just get a glimpse. In fact, the experience is so pure, you can't capture that experience of deep sleep. You can't capture it. It's very profound because there's no mind at all. There's no thought at all. Okay. Now, in the early morning, I contemplate upon the essential self, shining in the heart, which is existence, knowledge, bliss, which is the fourth plane of consciousness, which constantly illumines the waking, dream, deep sleep states. Now, why do they call it the fourth? So, Hariji, 1 minute. Huh? Why do they call it the fourth? Is because we know the waking, dream, deep sleep, we know the 3 states of experiences. They call the fourth is because 1, 2, 3, they call it the 4, easier for you to count because mathematics. 1, 2, 3, after 3, what comes? 4. Therefore, call it the 4. All that simple. They are very helpful, these masters, at times. Otherwise, they are very, very complicated. They are also complicated. You have to rack your head. What are they saying? But in the concept, they're very simple. Make it very easy. Why do they call the fourth? Because 1, 2, 3. You go to even a toddler and tell who is able to rattle off these first few numbers. 1, 2, 2, and then 2, 3, and then 3. What? 3, 4. Correct. Easy. Very easy. So you'll never forget. So therefore, that state of realization is called the fourth because you have the experience of waking, dream, deep sleep. Now, what is the fourth state? The fourth state is that which illumines the waking, dream, deep sleep. It is that consciousness which is there in all your experiences where you're conscious of. Hariji, please capture this. Fourth equals pure consciousness. Fourth equals pure consciousness, which illumines, pure consciousness illumines the states of waking, dream, deep sleep. Pure consciousness illumines the waking, dream, deep sleep, where you're conscious of. That's all. Put a full stop there. Where you're conscious of. Nothing more. So whatever you're conscious of, in the waking, in the dream, in the deep sleep, you're conscious of because of the Atman. And the Atman is the fourth, which makes you conscious of. You're conscious of whatever you're conscious of because of the consciousness. The consciousness is that which enables you to be conscious of whatever you're conscious of in the waking, dream, deep sleep. Amazing. What a language, what a style, what pure philosophy. This is what the Shastras are. This is what the Shastras speak. This is their language. Now, if I ask you simple question, any one of you ask, do you know my name? You say, yes, sir, I know your name. How do you know your name? How do you know my name? No, because you've been bombarding us your name. So every time, whether we like it or not, we are forced to hear your name. Okay. Thank you, sir, for your candid comments. Appreciate. Now I ask you, how do you know my name? What a question, sir. I already said to you, I know your name. But how do you know? I know that I know your name. Then I am very nagging. I say, how do you know? You are saying you know that you know my name. Yes, sir. I am very certain that I know your name. How certain are you? I am very certain that I know your name. And I can keep going on and on until it annoys you and you will say, I know that 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 I know your name. Appa, let's settle there. Now I ask you, do you know my father's name? Okay, some of you may know. I ask you, do you know my grandfather's name? And I don't know. How do you know? How sure are you that you don't know my grandfather's name? Ramanaji may guess. He may say, I know your grandfather's name. What a beautiful discovery was of knowing my distant relative or cousin, whatever we call it, but it was a beautiful discovery of knowing a long distance relative. Ramanaji is just related to us. And thanks to Hariji, he pointed out, look at his surname. So his surname and my surname are same because we are related. So even I ask him, do you know my great grandfather's name? He will say, I don't know, sir. My grandfather's name, I may guess, not your great grandfather. Then you will say, yes, sir, I know that I do not know your grandfather's name. How sure are you? Sir, I know, sir. What? That I know that I don't know your grandfather's name. How sure are you? Sir, sir, what is why are you nagging me like this? I know that I know that I know that I don't know your grandfather's name. Oh, is it? My name? Yes, sir. I know that I know that I know your name. At the same time, I know that I know that I don't know your grandfather's name. Huh? How is it? You seem to be aware of your knowing. You seem to be aware of your unknowing. What is it that enables your knowledge? What is it that enables your ignorance? It is your consciousness. The consciousness behind your knowing, the consciousness behind your ignorance is that which illumines everything. And that is happening in the waking, it happens in the dream, it happens in the deep sleep. So you have knowledge of the waking world, you have knowledge of the dream world, you have knowledge of nothingness in deep sleep, because deep sleep does nothing. But you know that I had a sound sleep when you wake up. So what is it that which helps you awareness of all this? It is the pure consciousness which is there in all the three levels. Waking, dream, deep sleep. It is the fourth. It is there in the three. It is there beyond the three. Therefore, it is the supreme. I am just being very poetic. I am just being very factual. And as you go on, you will be able to just understand the grandeur and the depth and the takeaway from these scriptures. It is so profound. Believe me, you will be just blown away. So profound. Okay, before I go further, yes, Hariji, you had a clarification to ask, please. Yeah, go ahead.
This waking and dream, it is subtle body, is it not? So I think then Harish ji will have to make the correction. He has written waking as gross body.
Which section, sir?
He has written waking gross body, sleeping is that correction has to be made.
Yes, you're right. I'm glad you pointed out, Hariji. Waking and dream is subtle body.
Subtle body.
Deep sleep is causal body. Inert matter is gross body.
Gross.
Inert matter is gross body. I appreciate, Hariji, for the clarification. Right. Now this fourth, you may ask me, sir, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, I understand what you're saying. Then why are they talking about the three states? Why are they talking about the fourth state? They are saying that fourth state is the supreme goal, Param Gatim. Paramahamsa Gatim Turiyam. It is the supreme goal. When you say supreme goal, it is what everyone has something that they are seeking in their life. Whether knowingly or unknowingly, consciously or unconsciously, you are running behind something. At different stages of your life, you're running behind something or the other, isn't it? Something fascinates you, something entices you, something enthralls you, something interests you, running behind it. There are some who are inspired and interested and enthralled by this goal of realization. They are inspired by this mission of unfolding themselves. And of all pursuits humanity can ever pursue, this is the highest of all pursuits, man. There's nothing greater and grander than this goal of trying to aspire to know yourself. Therefore, he says, Paramam Gatim, Param Gatim, Paramahamsa Gatim. It's like of all mountains, Himalayas is the highest of all mountains. Of all deserts, this is the biggest of all deserts. Nothing can get bigger than this, man. There's nothing there. You can go around the world. There's nothing bigger. So all human pursuits, nothing gets grander than this. Nothing gets special than this. So it is an extraordinary club, even just to even aspire to reach self-realization. Not every ordinary mind can conceive realization. In fact, it is a prerogative only of a human being to conceive the self. No other being can conceive of the transcendental reality. It's only a human being. And of all human beings, there's a very rare exclusive club who can think the grandeur of Atman or knowing thyself. Therefore, he says, self-realization is the highest of all beings, is the highest of all goals. Paramam gatim. And then he says, I am that indivisible Brahman and not this assemblage of elements. What a powerful statement. Tad Brahma nishkalamaham nachabhuta sangaha. And in fact, that realization of the self cannot happen unless and until you embrace this phrase. And the essence of this phrase is Tad Brahma nishkalamaham nachabhuta sangaha. So what is the takeaway of this message, of this line? What is this line saying? What is this essential takeaway? Seetharamanji, what is the essential takeaway of this line? No, I will explain certainly.
I am everything, I am everywhere, all pervading, and I alone is present everywhere.
I am everyone, I am everything, I am everywhere, I alone is present. Is that the takeaway?
Takeaway is that is our true nature. Our true nature is to be in happy and in bliss state and be a witness. So we should not crave for anything other than that is of no use.
Yes. That I am, that state of self is the purest of all, is the most auspicious state, is what you are. So I am, that's what he is asserting, I am that Brahman, I am that truth, I am that consciousness. But when can you actually realize or evolve into that experience of claiming one day that aham brahmasmi, I am that truth? When can you claim so?
When we go inward,
I'm still with that last line, sir. Tad brahma nishkalamaham nachabhuta sangaha. All right, so I heard.
When I realize self.
Realize self. It's I'm asking the path. You're talking of the goal. Yes, sir. GB Keraguru Japan, sir. Good to have you.
When you feel a trustee, nimitta matra.
When you are sorry? When you are a?
When you think that I am just trustee here, I'm a trustee, I'm a nimitta matra.
All right. When you are a mere instrument, very true, very nice. Yes.
Then only it is possible to reach that stage.
Yes, very true.
Otherwise, the bondage is there. The bondage is always, it keeps attached.
Yes, the bondage is very strong. So now, since you rightly use the word bondage, the accent is on what here?
It is Advaita. That is only one. That consciousness, the one consciousness, if it's there, then everybody, father, mother, sister, this, everything, it attached. That attachment is only when you think that you are only Advaita.
Correct. Sir, wonderful. What you're saying is, in your own way, you're exactly saying what the text is saying. The text is saying, Harishi, can we have the text screen? Is it possible? The invocation, please. Wonderful. If you read the last line, of the translation. He says, I am that indivisible Brahman. So I am that Brahman. On one side, you have the Brahman, which you have to assert. On the second line, he says, not this assemblage of elements. I am not this Panchabhutas of space, air, fire, water, earth. Either the gross body or the subtle body is nothing but mere assemblage of elements. So you can only assert the truth only when you negate the lower. So the message here is of the power of negation. Only when you say, I am not this, then you can say, I am that. So the spiritual exercise, the two pedals to spiritual growth is negation of the lower, assertion of the higher. You can only assert the higher when you negate the lower. Now you have to find out, what are you asserting? You're asserting the lower and you're negated the higher. So we are doing ulta. Yes, sir. Thank you. We are also following the process of negation assertion, but we are negating the higher and asserting the lower. Now what we got to do? We got to negate the lower and assert the higher. This is a simple, beautiful story. A prince went up to a Swami and he sought his audience, and first thing he's prostrated his feet. The Swami was very pleased to receive the king. He was the king, and this man, the Swami, is just an ordinary member. But he appreciated that the prince looked up to his wisdom and he prostrated to him. So, namaskar. Once the prince stood up, the king prostrated to the Swami also prostrated to the king. The king goes to the Swami, he prostrates to him. The Swami also prostrated to the king. The king was baffled and bewildered. Swami, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you prostrating to me? Same reason why you have prostrated to me. I prostrated to you because you are great. What do you think has made me great? You are a man of great renunciation. You have given up the worldly pursuits. You are not running behind Kanchana and Kamini. You have sought the higher self. You are a man of great renunciation. For that I am prostrating your feet. Then he said, I think you are a little greater than me. What are you talking, Swami? No. What have you renounced? You have renounced the self and you have embraced the Kanchana and Kamini. So if you want to talk in terms of degree of renunciation, which is greater, renouncing the self or renouncing the world? Obviously renouncing the self. Therefore I'm prostrating to you. Oh my God. Oh my God. Thanks, Swami. By merely prostrating to me, you taught me a great lesson. I realized the foolishness and absurdity of my attachment to this world. What am I running behind? Name and fame and power and money and status. This is what that interests me. This enchants me. This seemingly I have made this as the purpose of my life, to amass and acquire and aggrandize and hoard, thinking that is all the purpose of life. Man, please realize the real purpose of life is to realize yourself. And you can only get there is by renouncing, by negating the lower, and by negation alone, you can get on to the higher. It is not possible to appreciate the higher unless and until you have a value for the lower. You must give up the black market value you have for the dollars and cents. Deep within you have a great value for the dollar, isn't it? Dollar is what? The world. In fact, when the great Ramatirtha went to the United States in the early 1900s, when he spoke to the Americans, he said to them, believe in the mighty self, not in your mighty dollar, he told them. Don't be sold by the mighty dollar. Believe in your own mighty self, your own self, the reality, the consciousness which pulsates through all of us. My dear brothers and sisters, he said to them, and he enthralled them. So what is mightier than the world is the self. So you got to negate the lower and assert the higher. I tell you, just the mere invocation is like a mini dynamite, and the Atmabodha is like a nuclear bomb. It is going to just blow you up. All right. Now, every word is so pregnant with meaning. Every word has something to convey. It's just for you to able to decode it, open it up, and look at what it has to convey. Okay. Let's chant the invocation once so that we get into the spirit of it, and we'll try to uphold and maintain that spirit throughout our study of the text Atmabodha. Okay. Can we have the verse again, sir, please, so people can follow the chant? Pratah smarami hridi samsphuradaatmatattvam. I'm sorry, we lost the screen, sir. Perfect. Appreciate. Pratah smarami hridi samsphuradaatmatattvam. Satchit sukham paramaham sagatim turiyam. Yat swapna jagara sushuptamaveti nityam. Tad brahma nishkalamaham nacha bhuta sangaha. Pratah smarami hridi samsphuradaatmatattvam. Satchit sukham paramaham sagatim turiyam. Yat swapna jagara sushuptamaveti nityam. Tad brahma nishkalamaham nacha bhuta sangaha. So please remember to chant the invocation in the first two verses every morning. The first thing you do before you embark on your self-study, please do it. And let that message reverberate, pulsate through every vein, every nerve, every cell of yours, so that you can embark on this journey of self-realization, self-discovery. All right? Very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. Okay?